Hey everyone, Happy New Year from downtown Steinbach.
Well, outskirts this time back.
Okay, outskirts.
Okay.
We live on the east end of Steinbach. Yes, we haven't done an update for a little while, so figured we have a quiet evening to ourselves here. So let's get you up to speed on Christmas, New Year's, health. We're still here.
Okay, so some of you know, like, Christmas was rough. Just before Christmas, we've given you a bit of this, so we have to kind of go back in case someone's missed anything.
Yeah.
Because things that's the foundation for how things evolved. So December 19th, Scott had treatment, and we went out and we did a bunch of stuff at Elm Creek. We cleaned things out. So we were getting the house ready for sale. It is now for sale. If anyone wants to buy a house in Elm Creek, it is for sale, and we would like to sell it to you. Anyway, so what happened is, at that time, the issue was Scott was sleeping, not waking up, not eating, not drinking, and he was enjoying it. Like, I could not get him to wake up because he was just like, oh, it feels so good. I just want to keep sleeping. This just feels like it's the best sleep ever. And
that's how it felt.
Yeah, and then eventually, long story short, I realized we gave him a steroid in the middle of the night, and it was starting to make a difference. And then that was the clue for me. This isn't looking good. We called the oncologist, and she said, "Yeah, you need to go immediately. This isn't good." So we went in, and it's a weird thing to go to the triage, and you're like, "So, what's your pain level?" 0. Do you have a fever? No. Do you have any pain? No. Do you have any? He's tired. Like, who goes to the emergency room because you're tired? Well, we do now. And so, interestingly enough, they took one look at him and they quickly pushed him through to the rapid assessment zone, which was very good. Yeah. It felt like, okay, so we didn't do anything wrong here. And the doctor kept saying, you did the right thing. And it's very good you gave him the steroid when you did. That could have saved his life. And so what happened was they did a CT scan. His brain was swelling. And they think it's probably a reaction from the radiation. And so, interestingly enough, we had been controlling the swelling of the brain through Oncotherm on his brain, which is a natural treatment that we've been doing. And so they'd been doing Oncotherm on his brain during radiation and then for a few weeks after radiation. So that was the first week that we did not do any Oncotherm on his brain. We were doing Oncotherm on his lungs. We had thought, okay, well, we've done 4 weeks on the brain. Now we'll go to the lungs and we'll treat this and then alternate lungs, brain, lungs, brain. So that was the first week that he didn't have any brain treatment. He had the intravenous, but he didn't have Oncotherm on his brain.
I have a brain, though. You
do have a brain. He does have a brain. It's just different sizes of brain. So anyway, so what happened is that was his first week without Oncotherm, and that was the week his brain started swelling. So we actually believe that the natural treatments that many of you have been helping us pay for actually prevented the swelling from the radiation and all these side effects. They kept telling us of this huge list of serious side effects, and he didn't experience any of those. And we're like, oh, wow, we got off, like, it was good. We got off really easy. But we realize now that it probably was the Oncotherm on his brain that was keeping his swelling in check. So that was the first week that everyone thought, okay, we're ready to move on. Clearly, we weren't ready, but we didn't know that. So we went on the dexamethasone. Now, they gave him the highest dosage of dexamethasone. They just told us he absolutely needs this. He needs this to save his life. This is what he has to be on. It's a maximum dosage we can give him. And it's a tapering dose because you can't stay on it. It's just not healthy long term. But they didn't actually tell us anything about side effects or what to expect or anything. So we went on there. We came home with the dexamethasone. And then the other thing that they told us is be very careful. Like, because it's his brain, anything that's off, anything that's a little different, you need to bring him in. Yeah. Like, don't be worried that it's nothing, but like, bring him in. So we came home. He was on the 16 milligrams of the dexamethasone. And then it was a tapering dose, but we weren't tapering yet. So actually the next day he did quite well. He was around puttering, playing, like helping me get ready and whatever. In the evening he was playing a game, and one of my kids came to me later and said, Mom, his brain's not working. He's not remembering things, like things are not okay. We're like, okay, so he's been up a lot, so we'll make sure he gets to bed. So we went to bed. The next day he was flat. He just hardly smiled. And I say to him, like, are you okay? I'm just tired. And just flat, like, how are you feeling? Flat. He opened his gifts. There was like no expression. The kids were opening his gifts. Hey, Saba. Just like nothing. He wasn't eating again. And I just was not comfortable with where he was at. So we ended up back at the Emerge on Christmas Day evening. And we were so glad that Stuart and Serena came with us, and they spent some time with him there. And again, the doctor said, yeah, like it's very good you bring him in, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. And that's when things got a little harder for us, because he was sleepy though. He was like, can I just go back to sleep? I just want to sleep through all this. So, but they couldn't give him any more dexamethasone. That he's on the max that he can take. And the doctors in Steinbach said, there's nothing more here we can do for you. We're done. So everything now has to come from the radio oncologist in Winnipeg. Maybe your oncologist who's away. She was gone for 2 weeks. So there's nothing more we can do for you here. It's okay that you're here. You need to be here because we need to monitor him. But just so you know, this is what end of life looks like. You're nearing end of life. And that was hard for me.
Yeah.
So I said, like, how near? Like when you're saying this is what end of life looks like, I'm like, well, how close are we to the end? And he's like, well, I don't think it's going to be today or tomorrow. He's more alert than that, but we don't know. We really don't know. We're going to need to do an MRI to see if there's new tumors or if there's things changing in his brain. Yeah. We still haven't had that MRI. Some things fell through the cracks. And because he's now been moved into palliative, so they've referred him into palliative care. At that point, and he's also signed an ACPM, which means it's an advanced care plan medical, meaning that he doesn't want to be resuscitated. And that is his on file there. So medical procedures like surgeries and things like that, we would only be doing them at this point if they can guarantee us that this would extend life. Like the brain surgery, that would be something we might consider if it was like easy enough and guaranteed sort of thing. But no CPR, no resuscitation anymore. So we did have to make some hard decisions and sign some paperwork. We've been referred to palliative. And what that means is that we're now treating symptoms. We're symptoms-based. We're not doing any more curative. On the natural side, we still are.
Yes.
So the medical side, no, but on the natural side, we still are. And we do see a huge difference. So for those of you who have been with us from the beginning, and we told you about this, we told you that the naturopath said, I cannot guarantee a cure. I cannot cure this, but I can give you, say, extended life and better quality of life. And that we have 100% seen. So on the days that he goes for the Oncotherm and the IV infusion, like I get my husband back the next few days. So this last Thursday was the first day. We went to bed in the evening and I cried and I said, today I had a husband again. Today I was a wife. I wasn't a caregiver. He was up and puttering and he did all the laundry and the bedding and he did all kinds of stuff. And he's still weak and he's still tired. But he got stuff done.
It take all day to do the laundry. Who cares?
Yeah.
It takes all day.
Yeah. And it might take him an hour to empty the dishwasher and fill it again. But whatever. He's doing what he can, right? And so it just felt good to have him up and around and smiling and having conversation. And that feels really good. So the other part of this story is that by the time we got to New Year's Eve, he did go to bed New Year's Eve, but he started to feel very anxious. So he got up and didn't go back to bed for a while, for a couple hours. He did sleep a little bit that night. The next day, his anxiety started to rise. And by the next day, it was so high, he couldn't sit. He was pacing. He was in a state I've never seen him. And we began to realize this is dangerous. He was just like, take me to the hospital. Take me to the hospital. This isn't good. He's got his bags packed. He's gone. I'm like, the problem is they can't do anything more for you here. If we take you here, they're going to just call our radonk and say, like, what do we do here? And so we're like, well, we can call. We have the on-call number. So we decided we would call. But it still took some time to get through to the right oncologist. It was over Christmas. It was over New Year's. But we were blessed. We have such great church support, family support, friend support. Yeah. I just put it out there to some of our closest people to saying, this is not good. Scott is not okay. And I don't know what to do. I tried to take him outside. Like even outside, he was thinking, I'm going to die. There's not enough air in our house. But he had so much anxiety and so much panic. And when we got a hold of the radio oncologist, called us back and said, this is actually the dexamethasone. Yeah. And the dex can cause all these crazy psychotic episodes, suicidal tendencies, hallucinations,
Thanks for the warning.
And we're like, okay, it would have been good to have a little bit of a rundown about what to expect, but they can't take him off of it at this point. We're tapering off, so we're slowly coming off. And as we're coming off, we're seeing benefits, like not as much anxiety and that kind of thing. But that was a rough night. And thankfully, they did give us a medication that he could take that night as a PRN. So like as needed, it's not something he has to take all the time. He took that. He was able to calm down. Well, actually, my daughter came. She prayed for us. My mom and dad came, massaged his feet. We were engaged in conversation. By the time we're gone, he was like, I'm at about a 4. I was able to continue to like massage him, and we watched a show, and he was able to calm down. But he did take a pill that night and was able to sleep and relax. And he's been calm. He's noticed it coming, but being able to know, oh, this is not really anxiety. This is not a spiritual battle. This is medication coursing through my body. And so for those of you who don't know what steroids do, it's like pumping you full of adrenaline. So like when athletes take steroids, then they can run harder, faster, they can do more. It's like this huge burst of adrenaline in your body. It's like when you have adrenaline and you hear about old ladies who can pick up a car to rescue a child that's pinned underneath or something, right? It's that kind of powerful energy that is coursing through your body, but your brain goes, there's no emergency. There's no tiger in the room. No one's pinned under a car. So there's nothing to do. And so the brain starts creating danger. And so the danger it was creating is there's not enough room. The air in the room. And it's like, this is a big house. We're going to be fine. Like we could have lots of people here. We would not run out of air, but he's opening windows and doors. So it's a figment of the imagination because the brain is trying to make sense of all of these steroids and adrenaline that's coursing through your body. Now that he knows that, it's a little bit easier to go, oh, this is drugs. This is not real. I can just trust we're good. So that's been helpful. Yeah. In the meantime, throughout all of this, starting on December 15th, I was sick and got sicker and sicker and sicker. Ended up with like awful sore throats and sinus infection and ear infection and fevers and like crazy. And then serious severe vertigo where I couldn't get out of bed for a couple days because like I would fall over. Yeah. So it's been a journey the last few weeks, but
we're glad 2022 is done and glad for 2023.
Yeah. So one of the other things that sort of was beginning to happen in December is Scott would get very discouraged and he'd be like, what's the point if I'm dying anyway? Like I have nothing to look forward to. Going to the hospital. He kept packing his bag for the hospital. And I realized like he's nothing to hope for.
Yeah, it was a really big challenge to work through over Christmas. Different things like you can't live like maybe this is the last Christmas. Maybe this is the last time I see so-and-so. Maybe this is the last time we do this together. You know, you can't live like that. And so we want to live with hope and with fun and just continue to enjoy life as God opens opportunities up.
Yeah. So we've not been married a year. And in our married life, we've had like 5 MBI claims, a house insurance claim, 5 surgeries. Like most of the time he's been here, but it's been on short-term disability. So our whole married life has been like medical care and like recovery and surgery and sickness and hospital visits and doctors and cancer. So we actually have decided it's time that we build some memories that are not cancer related, that are not in a hospital or whatever.
Right.
So we're very grateful. We plan to go away for one night next week. And then the following week, we're going to go for a week to Kelowna area, Vernon, that area. We want to see a friend, and he would like to see the Rockies. So we're going to do some mountains, and we don't know what all we'll do. We know that his energy is limited, so he might do something one day and nothing the next day and rest. But we are going to be in a beautiful place with people that we know and love. We're going to be able to stop and see his family on the way there. And then maybe some friends on the way back, some friends while we're there. So it's kind of a mixture of friends and fun and adventure and rest and change of scenery. So we're looking forward to that. And it was very exciting for me once we got everything planned and booked. Scott's like, wow, I'm actually getting excited. And that was huge for me because he hasn't been excited about living as much lately. So this was a good sign. And then our anniversary is coming up in about 6 weeks-ish. So we decided to take a second trip. Did you want to tell them where we're going?
Going to Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Never been there.
He's never been. I've been there many times. He's never been. So we're going to fly down. We're going to fly to Hamilton. We're going to spend some days in Niagara Falls, some days in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area. And then we're going to head over to Guelph and a little bit more time in maybe Hamilton or Niagara on the way back. And so we're going to be gone for 10 days. One of the things we are looking for, this is something you can pray about, is finding the exact treatments that he's getting here at a place both in BC and Ontario that we can go for a treatment during the vacation so that we can keep up his energy and his health. Because we see such a difference when he does have, especially the intravenous, like he can actually be up all day and do things. And so if we're going on vacation, it'd be really nice if he was awake for the vacation. I don't want to do this alone. So that's what our plans are. We're just hoping we stay healthy. And this last weekend, we were super blessed because his sister and her husband came here for a day and a bit.
Yeah.
And, it means so much to us that you guys pray for us. We sometimes get messages from you guys saying like, I'm praying for you right now, or I was praying for you today, or this is what I'm praying for, or we're about to pray. Are there any specifics? Or we haven't had an update. Has there anything changed? And usually by the time we get 10 or 15 of those, I'm like, okay, Scott, we got to do another update. We would have done one earlier, but we were both so sick and I didn't have a voice for most of it and it was crazy. But those prayers and just knowing that you guys remember us in prayer, you're not just saying, hey, we're going to pray and then forget about us, like you're remembering us. Yeah. We feel it, we know it, and being newly married, just knowing that we have your support for this journey is huge. So thank you very much. And keep it up because he's here.
Yeah.
We're like way past the expected funeral date. So we're very pleased about that. And Lord willing, we'll have a few more months.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We don't know what God has in store, if it's healing or just extension of life through these treatments. We don't know. But we do know that God is in charge of it all. We know that precious in his sight is the death of the saints. And we also know that he takes his saints home for rest to protect them from future evil. So I would never hold Scott back from God's wonderful eternity but I do like him around a lot. So we appreciate your prayers. We know that this is that's difficult to walk with other people who are going through a hard time. And our world is really a lot about what we can do every day. And some days we can do more than others. And some days I cry a lot. Some days Scott cries. We take turns. And but this is a real journey, and it's hard, and we have big decisions to make about funerals and burials and insurance and trying to get things all figured out. And I finally can use my last name on most things, but
most things,
not everything yet. So we're still trying to be adjusted to being married and making all these crazy plans. So this is quite the journey, and we just are so grateful for how much support we have from all of you. We really do feel loved. Yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to?
Yeah, if you're ever in the Steinbach area, feel free to look us up.
And he might be in his pajamas, but he'd probably want to see you. All right, thanks so much, and Happy New Year.